You can tell a lot about an organization by comparing two things, the strategy deck and someone's calendar for next week. The deck says transformation, category leadership, AI leverage. The calendar says status meeting, handoffs, and 11 back-to-back Zooms that look exactly like last quarter.
It's that quiet horror moment when you realize the slides are inspiring, the OKRs are tidy, and your Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. looks exactly like it did before the new strategy. No visible trace of the big narrative anywhere in the actual work.
That's the gap we're going after today. Not more strategy, not another framework, a translation layer, a thin, practical bridge between the narrative you're selling and the behaviors your week actually reflects.
Think of it as the missing step between we will be an AI-enabled, customer-obsessed leader in our market, and here's what I'm doing in the next 90 minutes that proves we actually mean it.
This is the Agentic Executive. I'm Adrian Cross.
And I'm Amelia Voss. Today, how to build an executive translation layer that turns strategy slides into Tuesday moves using a 3-step model: decode, distill, deploy.
One core idea, 3 supporting moves, and a concrete action at the end. Clarity is leverage, so let's route it directly into your calendar.
All right, let's name this thing properly. When we say executive translation layer, we're not talking about another giant strategy doc or a new planning ritual. It's a thin, living layer that sits between your long-form strategy artifacts and your daily workflow.
Exactly. On one side, you've got decks, OKRs, annual plans, board memos. Those are slow changing. On the other side, you've got your calendar, your task system, your inbox, and, if you're using it well, your AI tools. Those change by the hour.
The translation layer is the bridge between those two timescales. It answers one question. Given everything we say we care about, what are the non-negotiable directives that should show up in my week in visible ways?
And it lives on a single page. Not a wiki labyrinth. Not a 40-slide deck. One page that you can look at and say, this is the strategic spine my week should bend around.
The system reveals the truth. If your calendar and your recurring workflows don't show that spine, the strategy is aspirational at best. The translation layer is how you confront that honestly, without adding more process theater.
So, how do you build it? 3 moves. Decode, distill, deploy. Let's start with decode.
Decode is about stripping your strategy down to a small set of non-negotiable strategic intents, not slogans, operating truths for the next 30 to 90 days.
Here's the mistake most teams make. They treat every bullet from the strategy deck as equal. 10 priorities, 12 themes, 17 initiatives. If everything is a priority, nothing is a constraint on your calendar.
Decode forces a hard cut. You look at your existing plans and ask, over the next 30 to 90 days, what are the 3 to 5 strategic intents that must shape my behavior? If these don't change how I spend time, they're just words.
Use plain language. Not drive cross-functional synergies to accelerate AI adoption. Instead, within 60 days, at least one critical workflow in each key function is meaningfully powered by AI, not just talked about.
Or if your strategy says move up market, the decoded intent might be shift 30% of my attention from small deals and ad hoc requests into learning, designing, and closing larger strategic accounts.
You're looking for statements that do 2 things. 1, they describe a directional shift in reality, not a vibe. 2, they imply an observable change in how you and your team behave.
And cap it. 3 to 5 intents maximum.
If you have 8, you don't have a strategy, you have a wish list. Precision drives agency.
Once you've decoded the narrative into those few intents, you move to distill. This is where it stops being conceptual and starts attacking your calendar.
Distill asks, for each intent, what are the concrete directives that should show up in how I operate? 3 types: behaviors, constraints, and recurring actions.
Behaviors are things you and your team actively do. For the AI adoption example, a behavior might be, in every weekly staff meeting, we surface one manual workflow and ask how AI could handle 80% of it.
Constraints are just as important. These are the lines you do not cross. For moving upmarket, a constraint could be, I do not personally handle deals below a certain size unless they're strategically important. That's a direct hit on your calendar patterns.
Then recurring actions. These are the scaffolds: monthly reviews, weekly blocks, standing agenda items. If an intent doesn't have at least one recurring slot in your week or month, it will be crowded out by operational noise.
So for each strategic intent, you want 3 to 5 directives across those categories, not 30. Directives like 2 90-minute deep work blocks per week on enterprise pipeline, or every product review includes 1 slide on AI leverage and 1 on customer impact.
And make them observable. If I opened your calendar or looked at your meeting agendas, someone should be able to say, yes, I can see that directive in the wild, or no, this is invisible. If it's invisible, it's optional, and optional doesn't survive Tuesday.
This is where most leaders stop. They have a slightly clearer list, maybe a doc with bullets. But the translation layer isn't real until it's wired into your actual week. That's deploy.
Deploy is where AI becomes useful, but also dangerous if you let it off the leash. Your goal is not to explode each directive into a 200-item backlog. Your goal is to generate small, sharp artifacts that make the directive frictionless to execute.
Think in terms of 4 assets you can ask your AI tools to help with: example tasks, agenda prompts, checklist templates, and communication snippets.
Example tasks, you feed the AI a strategic intent and a directive, then ask it for 5 concrete tasks you could schedule in the next 2 weeks to move that forward. 5, not 50. You can literally say, cap this at 5 high-leverage tasks.
Agenda prompts, for any meeting tied to a directive, ask AI to propose 2 or 3 questions you can drop directly into your agenda. For example, where can AI remove 50% of manual effort in this workflow? Or what did we learn from our last enterprise deal that we haven't codified yet?
Checklists. If a directive repeats, like a monthly AI review or a weekly pipeline block, have AI draft a lean checklist. 3 to 7 items that define done for that session. Again, you're enforcing scarcity to avoid busy work.
And communication snippets. Ask AI to draft a short paragraph explaining the directive and why it matters, tailored to your team, your peers, or your board. That way, you can align stakeholders quickly without rewriting the same justification 10 times.
Then you deploy these into reality. You actually put the tasks on your calendar. You add the agenda prompts into recurring meetings. You attach the checklist to a project. You send the snippet to your team and say, this is now how we operate.
At that point, the translation layer stops being a nice idea and becomes infrastructure. Your week is now wired to your strategy by design, not by hope.
Let's ground this with 3 quick examples: a founder, a VP, and an independent operator. Same translation concept, different shapes.
Take a SaaS founder. Their decoded intents for the next 60 days might be 1. Prove AI delivers real value in 2 core workflows. 2. Shift 20% of my time from ops firefighting into enterprise sales. 3. Build a simple, repeatable weekly execution rhythm for the team.
Distilled directives could include a fixed 2-hour weekly AI experiment block on the calendar, a constraint that the founder doesn't join internal status calls unless a decision above a certain threshold is needed, and a recurring Monday session where every team lead states one strategic move for the week, not just tasks.
Then deploy. AI helps generate sample experiments for that AI block, a short agenda for the Monday session, and a one-paragraph email that tells the team, here's how our weeks are changing to reflect our strategy. It all fits on one page and lives right next to the calendar.
Now, the VP example. Say a VP of operations in a mid-size company. Their decoded intents might be cut average cycle time by 15% on our core process, and increase AI utilization by frontline teams without adding confusion.
Distill directives. Every weekly ops review includes a one-page flow with current cycle time, bottleneck, and one AI experiment. A constraint that no new dashboard gets built without a clear owner and decision use case. And a recurring monthly session with frontline reps just to surface friction and candidate workflows for automation.
AI then drafts the ops review agenda, proposes 3 potential AI experiments based on prior data, and formats a simple template for that monthly frontline session. The VP's calendar actually shows the strategy as blocks, not just intentions in a memo.
Last, the independent operator, a solo consultant or creator. Their intents might be move from one-off projects to more retainer revenue, and increase the quality and consistency of thought leadership content.
Distilled directives there could be 2 weekly outbound blocks focused only on retainer-style offers, a constraint that no new custom project is accepted unless it fits a predefined offer shape, and a recurring content session where every piece is tied back to a clear problem their ideal client actually pays to solve.
AI can generate a list of 10 sample outreach messages for those retainers, a simple decision checklist for accepting work, and topic prompts for content that directly feeds that retainer narrative. Patterns create power when your tools are aligned with your intent.
Now, a few failure modes to watch for, because this is where people quietly blow it.
First, over general intents. If your intent sounds like be more innovative or improve collaboration, you haven't decoded anything. Force yourself to define what would be measurably different in 60 days and how that would show up on a calendar.
Second, creating yet another artifact that nobody looks at. If your translation layer lives in a random folder disconnected from your calendar, it will die. Put it where you live, pinned next to your calendar, embedded as the first page of your weekly review, or mirrored into your task system.
And third, letting AI expand scope instead of sharpening it. If you ask for all the tasks related to an intent, you'll drown in a backlog. Ask for constraints, sample tasks, and lean checklists instead. You're designing guardrails, not generating a universe.
Remember, AI is there to format and compress your thinking, not to replace it. You decide the 3 to 5 intents. You define the directives. The tools just help you express them in ways your systems can actually run.
So let's bring this down to one concrete move you can make today.
Pick one strategic priority. Not 3, not the whole roadmap. 1. Decode it into a single, clear intent for the next 30 to 60 days. Then write 3 directives. 1 behavior, 1 constraint, and 1 recurring action that should show up on your calendar.
Then use your AI tool to do just 2 things. 1, generate up to 5 example tasks tied to that intent that you could schedule in the next 2 weeks. 2, draft a short agenda snippet or checklist for one recurring meeting or block that will carry that intent forward.
Finally, wire one of those directives into next week's calendar before today ends. Not tomorrow, today. If your calendar doesn't change, your strategy didn't happen.
If this kind of tight, practical briefing helps you close the gap between slides and reality, make sure you're subscribed. You're busy. It's easier to let the week fill itself. But the system reveals the truth, and the systems you upgrade most often are the ones that win.
You'll get more 10-minute episodes like this. 1 core idea, 3 supporting moves, and a concrete action you can implement the same day. Make your next move count. And as always, stay agentic.